Another thing that a lot of people ask me is how I build the voices that go into my tracks. These dark voices that sound with so much energy, but at the same time they are so clean. It's really difficult to cope with both things, and it took me a lot of time to be able to have evolving sound on that, and with a lot of energy and many frequencies happening at the same time, but having also clean sound that goes on top of the rest of the sound of the track. You can hear the voices, but at the same time they are just in the place they have to be. And I discovered some plugins from the Antares house. It's a manufacturer plugins. Is really nice, and I use them, one of them just to make like the voices double, like make a special chorus of tracks or of sounds, but just with two of them. So it's just to take the original sound and put another on top. And then one is called punch, is just to get all the frequencies up, rising, but without distorting, and a warmer. Okay, again. And first of all, we are going to see how this track sounds, and then we are going to see how the voices are made.
Klänge müssen frei sein.
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 So this is the beginning of the track. Some voices are already into the game. So we are going to focus on one of them to see how I apply these plugins. So let's focus on just the voice.
Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein.
Okay, so the first thing is, as I already said, is to have a clean sound. Okay, so when you record that, make sure that there is no noise, that you have a good microphone, and that you are taking just the pure sound with no other elements, because we are going to rise all the frequencies that are present in that sample, and if you have noise or another waste, everything is going to rise, and it's really difficult to take it out. So first of all, the 90% is to have a clean sample of voice. Okay, record the best sample you can. Spend money on the microphone to record that. The first effort I want you to see how it affects to the sound is the reverb. So this is the sound without reverb.
Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge
which is
müssen
clean,
frei sein.
but
Klänge müssen frei
let's
sein.
see what happens
Klänge
if I add
müssen
the
frei
reverb
sein.
and some
Klänge
compression
müssen
to
frei
that.
sein. Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein.
It's a completely different sound already. Let's see even just without the reverb, but with the compressor.
Klänge müssen
It sounds
frei sein. Klänge
okay,
müssen frei sein.
with
Klänge müssen
more
frei
body,
sein.
more,
Klänge
with
müssen
more
frei sein.
gain,
Klänge
but
müssen frei
dry.
sein. Klänge
Let's
müssen
see what
frei
happens
sein.
when I dry
Klänge
the reverb.
müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge
Wow, suddenly
müssen frei
it gets
sein.
something that
Klänge
is
müssen frei
over
sein.
that.
Klänge
And
müssen
we
frei
can
sein.
play with the
Klänge
different levels
müssen
of
frei sein.
reverb.
Klänge müssen frei sein.
Dry.
Klänge müssen frei
We're
sein.
going 20%,
Klänge müssen frei sein.
40,
Klänge müssen frei sein.
70,
Klänge müssen frei sein.
100.
Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein.
If you add a lot of reverb, what happens is that you start losing the original sound and all the strength of the original voice. But if you are too little, it gets too dry. So you have to find the right value. Let's work on adding these plugins that I was saying. The first of all is the duo. So this is the voice without it.
Klänge müssen frei sein.
And now I'm going to add
Klänge
it.
müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein.
So it creates a second layer of sound that mix perfectly with the original one. So you are getting the sound like double and with more presence, and wow, you are saying, oh wow, this is a sound that is not only dark, but it's dark and in the face. This is what I want to sound. And just adding some punch to give all the frequencies that were hidden at the same level too.
Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen
Without
frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein.
the
Klänge
chorus,
müssen frei sein. Klänge
more
müssen
dry,
frei sein. Klänge
no as
müssen
much
frei sein.
presence.
Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge
That's
müssen
it.
frei sein.
What I do in the break of the track is adding different voices with these effects, and then just giving some reverbs of the bass line before breaking and going rise again. Okay, so it will be just the last part before going would be something like that.
Klänge müssen frei sein.
Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein. Klänge müssen frei sein.
Klänge müssen frei sein.
One of the things I love to be working on that is this kind of sounds that are present on my track, made of our arpeggio of sounds, like this one. So what's happening here is that you can see the MIDI pattern here, and what I do is I build with the keyboard some simple pattern, then I create some charts on top of it and make some automations of the envelope. So basically what is happening here is that I'm getting a more complex sound, but just using these 4 or 6 notes, like this one. For this bassline, by the way, I'm using Silent, which is an amazing VST for creating these textures of basslines and giving all the power and thickness that you want. This is arpeggio in the bassline, but working with that sample of notes, and again with all. So this allows me not only to give some basic and basslines, not only to build like bassline sounds, but giving some drive at the same time to easily take the track to keep it more alive and with more energy. And this is one of the characteristics of the David Mazer sound. This kind of arpeggios happening the whole time and making the basslines to evolve. And bassline synths or medium synths, main synths to be evolving the whole time. Yeah, as well as the bassline with arpeggio. I have another pattern here that I use in this case is for the synth, and it's not a really complex pattern this time either. The idea is to show how you are giving this evolution of the sound at the same time using automation in the evolving units, automation in the effects, and obviously with the arpeggios that you have here. So for example, you see this. It's quite similar to the bassline, but giving together these two elements create a really powerful unit on the track. The bassline and with the synth. Yes, that. So sometimes you can use the same MIDI pattern to build different layers and to give different energy on different frequency bands. So it's really useful, and I don't know, it's one of the things that I normally do in the tracks to keep this energy going and moving with the different sounds and giving this pressure that I love to give to my tracks. This pressure that's happening and going to the next second and the next one. And I don't know, it's something that I love to do, and I build this way using the same rhythm patterns or MIDI patterns in different elements. In this case, I'm using for the bassline Silent and for the main synth the Massive. Regarding the main synth of the track, there is another trick that I normally use to create some stereo here. And let's hear that this is the main synth. This is called with the massive pattern that I showed you before. And if you hear that, it's going to have this panning of the sounds. There is some panning option, some panning effect, going to the right, to the left. So we are having the stereo, we are having the arpeggio, external arpeggio, the chords happening, some automations in the evolving units into the massive, and then an external autopan to get all the elements moving from one to the other sound, but not completely, just slightly. And if you see here, this is the inside for isotope. You can see how the energy is spreading right and left because of the panning, which is in the club, this distribution energy is really powerful, the effect you get with that. Another trick I use in some of my tracks is how I change the rhythmic patterns. I mean, normally you have a 4/4 pattern, which is nice for most of the tracks. But when you want to take more dynamic or a drive more aggressive or more attention of the people or what is happening on the track, you can change the main kick pattern to have something like really strong, not only changing or adding a new synth, but having a global change of the global rhythmic or kick pattern. Okay, so for example, this is my track, My Game, from the last album, Dark Legacy, and it sounds like this. The main kick is a 4/4 when the track starts, and during the first minute and a half, something like that, it keeps. But then when I have the first break, I just release it with a 3/2 kick pattern. With 3 + 2, with it's a 5/4 pattern, this way. So the main one, and then when it breaks, go to the other. 4/4, break, break that. So the attention of the people of what is happening on the dance floor is like, wow, it seems quicker, really, and the aggression that you are adding, but it's just a change of the main pattern. Okay, I made another change. I'm going for a 3 + 2 to a 3 + 3, which will be a 6/4, and this will be the result just for the kick, which is a 3. So you have the original 4/4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Then you have the 3/2, which will be the 1 2 3 1 2, 1 2 3 1 2, and then you have the 3/3, 1 2 3 1 2 3, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. So, and this is the break. ways of adding more aggressive feeling and more tension and more dynamics of the track. And it seems even you are changing the velocity of the track, but what's happening is that you are just changing the main rhythm pattern, which is a small trick to have a track that has different feels, that you go in the 4/4, in the 5/4 and the 6/4, and everything in the same track. You can do it, and you can add different layers of kicks for that. I'm gonna show you another way of giving more textures and complexity to the sound. This time I'm going to show you how, as well as these notes with the arpeggios, we can create more complex sequences into the synth. And this track is called Fractals, belongs to my last album, Dark Legacy, and this is how it sounded the track originally. So one of the main parts of the track is this synth, this metallic sound that is happening the whole time with different notes, is this one. And it looks like something that is only a one wave, not different notes, because they are not like separated, they are not broken. This is like, okay, it's something happening, going up and down, but having like a unique stream of energy. And what happened is that in this case is a little more complex thing. I have the MIDI notes happening here. I have like the long MIDI notes and a little, you can see here like 6, 7 really tiny notes that allows me to create different extra layers that when you add them, all of them give this complex texture. But as well as this, as well as the pattern, the MIDI pattern, in the massive scene, this time I have used an internal sequencer and give an extra modification. As well as this, the internal sequencer, I'm also giving some extra automatations here in with these evolving units of the sound of every single of the patterns, and you can see how the different sound. For example, if I just take down, you have like different notes, give them all this effect, it creates just a unique string, not broken. Okay, so the good thing is happening, like have many notes happening at the same time, but just like if were just a simple structure happening, and this is how it sounds. I love to do here is to create some silence before it's going to break. It is going forward, then I filter the main, and then I start creating a reverse of the main synth. It starts with the filter, is that one, and I use different patterns, but everything in reverse, different patterns with different frequencies. When I'm getting just to the end of the break, I just put the volume down completely for some milliseconds to create the maximum tension. Because after you are waiting, go up again, and suddenly you have this sound, and suddenly you have no sound. There is silence there. So I just put the gain down and even the master of the whole track for a couple of milliseconds down. And it's really good because people are not expecting that, and you are creating a moment of maximum tension. And it's something that you use in some of my tracks, and it's, I don't know, it works. It simply works. So I think is useful too.